Hi everyone, welcome to Ask an Armourer. My name's Kia and today I'll be showing you how to put together your foil if you use a two-prong connector. Let's get started. For this video, I'm assuming you already have a wired blade with a complete tip and the spaghetti wire on it. This can either be a brand new one or one that you made following one of my rewiring videos. I'm also assuming that your tang has been cut to the correct length and is set to an angle that you prefer. If not, you can go ahead and check out my videos on those and meet us back here when you're ready. The tools you'll need for this are an Allen key, a small piece of sandpaper, a large flathead screwdriver, a pair of wire cutters, a pair of pliers, and either a test box with a known to be working body cord or a multimeter that can read down to the 1 ohm range. If you have pliers with a curved nose rather than straight nose, it makes access a little bit easier, but either are fine. The last things you may want are a magnetic bowler pad to hold pieces in and a bench-mounted vise if you have access to one, though these are simply make-life-easier pieces rather than being necessities. The parts you need are all the parts of a foil: your wired foil blade, your bell guard, your connector, your guard pad, your handle, any lock washers you may need, and the hex nut. To get set up, if you have the bench-mounted vise, go ahead and place your foil tang up and wire groove facing away from you. This most closely simulates your view of your weapon when you're fencing, so it makes placing things as you like them easier. If not, you can sit and hold the blade between your knees or find whatever method works for you. My current method is to wedge my blade into the couch cushions so I can film and work on it at the same time. The things we do. Once the blade is secure, carefully unwrap the wire. You want to be sure you don't kink the wire as you do this, as it can disturb the insulation and even break the wire, meaning you'd likely have to rewire your blade entirely. Thread the wire up through the bell guard, ensuring the small groove is matched to the wire side of the blade. If you have a guard without one of these grooves, it's likely meant for a practice blade, so you need to switch it for one that has this notch. Also, be careful when seating the guard down so that the wire doesn't get pinched. If this happens, the wire is likely to break or have insulation stripped, meaning you'd have to start over with rewiring your blade. Please don't ask me how many times I've had to do this before learning my lesson. Once the bell guard is seated at the base of the tang, thread the wire through the connector. The connector will have the same notches as the bell guard for the wire. The connector should sit opposite to where your hand is so it's out of the way. So if you're right-handed, it'll be on the left side of the bell guard, and vice versa if you're left-handed. Bring the wire up through the small hole, as this will support the wire as it goes to the connector, and then you can just place the connector onto the tang. As with the bell guard, make sure that the wire isn't getting pinched underneath the connector as it goes down. At this point, pinch the spaghetti wire in one hand, making sure to capture it and the wire inside. And then carefully sand the wire down with your sandpaper. If you're curious, I'm currently using 180 grit paper. Your goal is to remove the 2-layer insulation, the colored one made of paper or fabric, depending on the manufacturer, and the clear glue used to hold this in place. If you don't remove both layers, the wire will still be insulated and therefore not seem to work. You'll be able to tell you've cleared it when the copper is a very bright and shiny color, as opposed to a duller look. Don't trim any excess wire at this point though, as this extra length will make the next step easier. Once your wire is prepared, go ahead and unscrew the connector hole that has the insulating collar on it. This will be the one for the smaller prong. To do this, just hold the nut in place with your pliers below, and you only need to loosen it by a turn or two, as you just want to be able to wrap the wire around it and don't want the pieces to fall apart. Trust me, these are a pain in the neck to put back together. Go ahead and wrap your wire around this connector piece between the top of the socket and the washer that should be on it. Just wrap this around once in a clockwise direction, as this will ensure that the wire is pulled into the connection rather than pushed out when you tighten it back down. You can just tighten it gently with your fingers so that it's all held in place to start, and then again, using your pliers and screwdriver, you can tighten it down the rest of the way. Make sure that your spaghetti wire has come right to the base of the connector as you can get it. This will ensure that your wire is protected and insulated all the way along its length. At this point, you all know how much I like some redundancy in my checks. It's a lot easier to adjust anything at this point than after I finish putting everything together. So for this, I'm going to take my small test box and a body cord that I know works and plug it in to my connector. Please note you do have to hold the connector in place for the circuit to actually work properly, and then I just depress the tip to see if it works the way I want it to. Each test box shows different readings in different ways, so be sure to follow the instructions for whatever one you have. Alternatively, if you have a multimeter, you can clip the probes onto the socket of the connector. Doesn't matter which one goes to which. You'll see that the needle has gone to about 1/2 ohm here, which is good. I want below 2 ohms. And then when I depress the tip, it goes to infinite ohms, which tells me that everything checks out and I'm good to go. If at this point whatever readings you get check out and show that everything's working, you're good to go ahead and keep putting your foil together. If not, go back and see what you may have missed or needs to be redone. Assuming everything has come together as planned so far, we can go ahead and finish putting together our foil. Once the connector is attached, you can trim any excess wire and put the bell guard pad on, making sure that the cutout, if there is one, is over the connector. Now, put the handle on. If you look at the front of your handle, you'll see there's a small notch cut into the front. This should align with where the wire comes out from the bell guard and make sure that the wire doesn't get pinched or broken. Gently place the handle onto the tang and lift the guard pad to make sure that your wire is out of the way. Once you have the wire safely out of the way, press the handle down all of the way. At this point, if you have any lock washers, go ahead and you can put them in now if needed. These just take up a bit of space on the tang and can help hold the nut in place. I typically find I use 0 to 3 depending on what's needed. I know that this blade doesn't need any, so I won't put any in right now, but if they're not falling immediately into place, you may need to use a small screwdriver or pen to shift them into position. Finally, just take your Allen key and place the hex nut on the end of it. I prefer this order as it makes controlling the nut a lot easier. Just slot it into the groove and tighten it down. Congratulations, you now have a freshly built foil. Thanks for watching everyone, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like me to cover in the future, please leave them for me down below. See you in the next one. Bye.